the cold blue light of the phone screen before the sun has even considered the horizon. We've all been there. Our first conscious act of the day is not to greet a loved one, not to feel the floor beneath our feet, but to check a number, a portfolio balance, a crypto price, a market pre-open. A single red arrow sends a silent jolt of cortisol through our system, hijacking our nervous system before we've even had a chance to inhabit our own minds. Our day, our mood, our sense of self-worth has just been outsourced to the chaotic whims of a global algorithm. Why do we do this? Why do we willingly surrender the sacred quiet territory of our first waking moments to a set of data points that have absolutely no regard for our well-being? We have been sold a grand narrative about money, a cultural promise that equates a rising balance with a rising sense of self. And in pursuit of this promise, we find ourselves caught in a strange paradox. The more we chase financial security on the world's terms, the more insecure we feel within ourselves. We see it in the periphery of our lives, a constant low-grade hum of comparison, a friend's vacation photos, financed by debt we can only guess at, a colleague's new car in the company lot, a gleaming symbol of progress while we feel stalled, stuck in a loop of paying off yesterday's wants. There's a quiet humiliation in feeling like you're perpetually late to the party, that the ship of opportunity sailed while you were busy trying to patch the leaks in your own small boat. This isn't just about money. It's a feeling of being left behind by life itself. These obstacles are not just external, the relentless marketing, the social pressure to perform success. They are internal. They are the limiting beliefs we inherited, the quiet whispers that we aren't smart enough, disciplined enough, or worthy enough to build real prosperity. They are the chronic anxiety that clings to every financial decision, the fear of ruin that paralyzes us, and the impulsive desires that sabotage our best-laid plans. We are fighting a war on two fronts, against a culture of manufactured desire and against our own undisciplined minds. The great unspoken promise of our time is that money buys freedom. It's a compelling story. Accumulate enough, hit that magic number, and you will unlock a life free from worry, free from bosses, free from constraints. You will, in essence, purchase your own sovereignty. But look closer. For so many, the pursuit of this number doesn't lead to freedom. It leads to a more sophisticated cage, a cage built from performance anxiety, lifestyle inflation, and a gnawing, insatiable hunger for more. This is the invisible consequence of the modern financial dream. We chase wealth to quiet our anxieties, only to find the chase itself amplifies them. We consume to signal our status, mortgaging our future peace for a fleeting moment of present validation. We tie our identity so tightly to our net worth that a market downturn feels like a personal failure, an indictment of our very character. The result is a state of chronic, low-grade psychic exhaustion. We are tired of the performance. We are ashamed of our impulses. We are weary of pursuing goals that, once reached, feel strangely hollow. What if there were another way? Not a get-rich-quick scheme, but a framework for getting sane slowly, an ancient operating system for the mind, designed to build an inner citadel of calm, clarity, and control, regardless of the storms raging in the market. This is the Stoic path to wealth. It begins not with a stock tip, but with a fundamental reevaluation of our relationship with the first 10 minutes of our day. The first habit is to wake with purpose, not with panic. Instead of reaching for the phone, we learn to reach inward. We place the device across the room, forcing a physical act of commitment to begin the day on our own terms. We sit, for just 60 seconds, on the edge of the bed. We take a breath, and we ask ourselves a simple, powerful question. What is my true purpose today? Not what the market demands, not what our anxieties scream, but what we, as rational beings, choose to prioritize. By winning this first battle against reactivity, we set the tone for a day of intentional action, not frantic desperation. With our internal state claimed, we prepare the mind for the inevitable chaos of the external world. The Stoics practice something called premeditatio malorum, or the negative visualization of future evils. In finance, this is a superpower. We spend 2 minutes calmly and deliberately picturing a financial setback, a portfolio drop of 20%, an unexpected 4-figure bill. We don't wallow in fear. We rehearse our rational response. I will not panic. I have a plan. This is an opportunity. By contemplating the storm in the calm of the harbor, we strip it of its power to cause terror when it appears on the horizon. This newfound resilience allows us to cut through the overwhelming noise. Our minds are flooded daily with financial to-dos, hot stock tips, and 1,000 trivial tasks that masquerade as productive work. The third habit is to distill this chaos into clarity with a financial priorities journal. On a simple note card, we write down no more than 3 essential tasks for the day. One of them must be a process goal: review my asset allocation, not an outcome goal. Make 5%. This simple act focuses our limited energy on what truly moves the needle, protecting us from the siren song of busy work. But clarity is useless without the will to act upon it. Willpower, like a muscle, must be trained. This leads to the fourth habit, a moment of voluntary discomfort. For centuries, Stoics have practiced this to fortify their discipline. We can do the same. We take the last 60 seconds of our shower with cold water. We skip our usual morning coffee. We do a short, intense burst of exercise. By intentionally choosing a small, controlled hardship, we train our minds to override impulse. This makes it infinitely easier to say no to the larger, financially destructive temptations that will inevitably arise later in the day. This discipline becomes truly potent when applied to the central pillar of Stoic thought, the dichotomy of control. This is perhaps the most liberating concept in all of finance. We must learn to relentlessly distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot. We cannot control interest rates, geopolitical events, or the market's mood swings. We can control our savings rate, our spending habits, our investment strategy, and most importantly, our emotional reactions. Pouring energy into the former is the definition of anxiety. Pouring it into the latter is the definition of wisdom. We can make this tangible. Draw a line down a piece of paper. On the left, list the financial factors you cannot control today. On the right, list those you can. Now consciously decide to focus your entire day's energy only on the right-hand column. This act releases an immense psychological burden. You are no longer a gambler trying to predict the unpredictable. You are a craftsman, methodically building your financial fortress one controllable brick at a time. This is the shift from helpless passenger to calm, focused captain of your own ship. But control without purpose is merely sterile efficiency. Why are we building this fortress? What is it for? The sixth habit is to review your why before you review your wallet. Wealth is a tool, not an end in itself. Its purpose is to serve a virtuous and meaningful life, to provide security for your family, to buy back your time for creative pursuits, to help those in need. Each morning, we must reconnect with this deeper purpose. Write it on a sticky note. Visualize it. This why is the fuel that keeps you disciplined when motivation wanes, and it is the guardrail that prevents you from veering into greed. With our purpose clear, we can now execute with precision. The seventh habit is to complete one high-value financial task before the chaos of the day begins. The morning is for proactive, strategic work, not for reactive firefighting. We set a timer for just 25 minutes and dedicate it to one important but not urgent task from our priority list. Researching a low-cost index fund, automating a savings transfer, reading a chapter of a finance book. Achieving this small, significant win before 9 a.m. builds a powerful sense of momentum and competence that carries through the entire day. This proactive work must be grounded in a mindset of sufficiency, not scarcity. This brings us to the eighth habit, practicing gratitude for what you already have. The modern consumer engine runs on convincing you that you are incomplete, that happiness is just one more purchase away. The Stoic antidote is to actively appreciate your current financial position, however modest it may seem. Look at your bank account. Instead of focusing on the goal you haven't reached, find one number you can be grateful for. I am grateful I was able to save $50 this month. This simple act shifts your perspective from a state of endless, anxious striving to one of calm, present abundance. This present-focused gratitude is perfectly balanced by a healthy perspective on our own mortality. The ninth habit is memento mori. Remember you will die. This is not a morbid practice. It is a tool for radical prioritization. Contemplating the finite nature of our time cuts through the noise of trivial wants and illuminates what truly matters. It forces us to ask powerful questions. Will this purchase matter in 5 years? If my time was limited, what financial structures would I be glad I put in place today? This thought creates a healthy urgency to stop procrastinating on what is truly important, like creating a will, starting an investment plan, or having that difficult money conversation with a loved one. To act with such clarity, we must stand on the shoulders of giants. The 10th habit is to spend 5 minutes reading from the masters. Your financial problems are not new. For thousands of years, the wisest minds have written about discipline, fear, greed, and long-term thinking. Instead of scrolling through the sensational, short-term noise of social media for financial advice, we read one page from a timeless text, the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, the Letters of Seneca, or a foundational investment book. This habit grounds our financial philosophy in principles that have weathered the centuries, not the fleeting trends of the current news cycle. Now, with our minds fortified by purpose, resilience, and wisdom, we engage in the final act of preparation. The 11th habit is to practice silence before the market opens. The opening bell is designed to trigger a cascade of emotional, herd-like behavior. The flashing numbers, the breaking news. It's an assault on our rational minds. By taking just 2 to 5 minutes to sit in complete silence before this storm, we create a buffer. We breathe. We remind ourselves of our plan. We commit to observation, not immediate participation. We enter the arena calm and centered, a strategist, not a panicked gladiator. All these habits culminate in the 12th and final principle, the very core of the Stoic financial life. Commit to the process, not the prize. Your goal is not to become a millionaire. Your goal is to become the type of person who is disciplined, wise, and resilient enough that wealth becomes a natural byproduct of your character. The great Stoic teacher Epictetus used the analogy of the archer. The archer controls her stance, her aim, her breathing, the release of the string. She cannot control the sudden gust of wind that may divert the arrow. Her duty lies in the perfection of her process. The outcome is not entirely hers. This is the ultimate freedom. You detach your self-worth from the daily fluctuations of your portfolio. You followed your plan with discipline. You saved what you committed to saving. You resisted an impulsive purchase. Then you have won the day, regardless of what the market did. Your reward is not a number on a screen. It is the quiet pride of knowing you acted with virtue and reason. The financial results, over the long term, will take care of themselves. You see, these 12 habits are not a mere checklist. They are an integrated system for transforming your relationship with money, and by extension, with yourself. They are the daily practice of building a fortress within your own mind, a fortress that cannot be breached by market volatility, by social pressure, or by your own fleeting impulses. True wealth is not a destination you arrive at. It is a state of calm, strategic control that you inhabit, day by day. This is the redefinition of prosperity. It is not the freedom to buy anything, but the freedom from wanting everything. It is the peace that comes from knowing you have focused only on what you can control and have accepted the rest with grace. It is the sufficiency found in gratitude and the clarity forged by purpose. The real measure of your wealth is not the size of your bank account, but the tranquility of your mind when you look at it. So I ask you, are you building a portfolio or are you building a fortress?